everyone, my name is Shoshana Morris. So I'm going to be talking about conflict resolution. I'm going to give an example of how I use it at my internship. So conflict, arguments, and change are natural parts of our lives, as well as lives of every agency, organization, and nations. Conflict resolution is a way for two or more parties to find a peaceful solution to a disagreement among them. The disagreement may be personal, financial, political, or emotional. When dispute arises, often the best course of action is negotiation to resolve the disagreement. I'm looking back and forth because I have my notes written down. So once I'm looking at my notes if you see me looking away for a long period of time. The goals of negotiation are to produce a solution that all parties can agree to work as quickly as possible to find a solution to improve, not hurt the relationship between the groups in conflict. Okay, so um, my internship took place in the Legal Aid Society, and I was working in the Housing Court Department. So on a regular basis, I probably took 40 to 50 calls. I did the intake process where I would take the information down, I would put it in a database, and then a paralegal was assigned to their case. The supervisor, I worked with her closely, so she showed me the ins and outs of certain things. So one caller we had, I'm gonna name her as Jan. Um, she had 4 children. One was disabled, and she was facing eviction. She was working before the pandemic. She lost her job during the pandemic, so that was a cause of her not being able to pay her rent. She reached out to the Legal Aid Society. Initially, she had did the ERAP application. The ERAP application is like a housing subsidy that help cover the rents for 11 months, and I think they get an extra 4 months. Um, she had put in for it in the summer of 20, 2020. She never really followed up with it, so there was no money awarded to her. So now she owed her landlord over $20,000 in back rent. She called. I did her intake. My supervisor handled the case because with her, in her circumstance, because she had a disabled son, it was high priority. So she was very frustrated, when she called in. She was she was yelling, she was angry, and, with active listening, which I learned from my previous conflict resolution course, you could, active listen. So I was like, okay, Miss Jan, you're upset because, your rent and you're facing eviction. And so she, yes or no questions. So, I was like, well, I can help you. I'm going to get the supervisor on the line and see what she can do for you. So I told my supervisor, Miss Singleton, and she was able to reach out to HRA, which they helped her pay $15,000 of her back rent. Then it's called City Fast, which is another housing subsidy. They paid the rest of the money that was owed, and for the next 5 years, they're going to help pay her rent. She's still looking for a job. She's still going through the motions. Like, it's kind of hard to see all of this happening because the pandemic, yeah, some would say it's over, but then in other hands, it's not over because it's like you're not really back to full normalcy. So it's just hard for you to go out there, get a job. She has a son that's disabled, and she has other younger kids that's sick prone. And for her to go out there, she don't know what she could bring back to her kids. So that was one of her biggest issue because she's just scared of bringing something home to her kids, and God forbid. So, like I was saying, she did get the housing subsidy. They're gonna help her for 5 years more. So, in this sense, right now, she's okay. She's on the way of going to job fairs and looking for jobs. And the thing with, the housing subsidy is that she has to stay in a certain income. So, yeah, she did get to be able to stay in her apartment. But then if she wants, to take on a higher paying job, she has to be scared that she's going to lose her subsidy, or she just has to know that when that happens, she cannot um, look for the subsidy to help her because she's making a certain amount of money. So um, she was like I said, she was very angry at first. And I was trying to, I was empathetic the best way I could be. I reassured her that I'm going to send everything over to the supervisor. I'm going to try my best to make sure her case is seen and heard. She was happy that, I sent the email, and she was thankful that she got the housing subsidy.